History is a river of firsts. Moments when someone dared to do what no one had done before. Each first carried struggle, courage, and a spark of imagination, and together, they shaped the world we live in today. Let's follow their footsteps, one leap at a time. In 15th century Mainz, Germany, Johannes Gutenberg built a press that could copy words faster than any hand could write. Before his invention, books took months or even years to copy, locked away in monasteries, reserved only for the wealthy. Knowledge moved at a crawl. Gutenberg's press, built around 1440, changed everything. Suddenly, books could be produced in hundreds. Ideas could spread across borders. The Renaissance, the Reformation, and even modern science were fueled by this flood of information. But Gutenberg himself never profited. He lost his press in a lawsuit, died nearly penniless, and yet, historians still call his invention the most important of the second millennium. His story reminds us, even if one man loses, humanity can win. 3 centuries later, in England, another man would gamble everything, not on words, but on saving lives. In 1796, a small English village faced the terror of smallpox, a disease that killed millions and scarred survivors for life. Doctors tried desperate measures, even inhaling powdered scabs. Nothing worked. Edward Jenner noticed something strange: milkmaids who caught cowpox never caught smallpox. It was a risky idea, but he tested it. He scratched cowpox material into the arm of a young boy, James Phipps, then exposed him to smallpox. The boy never got sick. Critics called Jenner reckless. Some even mocked him in cartoons. But his gamble worked. Jenner had given the world its first vaccine. Today, he's remembered as the father of immunology, and smallpox, the killer of millions, has been erased from Earth. 30 years later, across the Channel in France, another man tried something daring, not to cure disease, but to capture time itself. Human beings always longed to capture memories, a face, a sunset, a moment in time. In 1826, in the Burgundy region of France, Joseph Niépce tried to do what no one else could. He aimed his camera out of a window and waited. Not for minutes, but for 8 long hours. At last, a faint image appeared: rooftops and sunlight frozen forever. The first photograph. It was far from perfect. Niépce's photo was blurry. He died before the world recognized his work, while his partner, Louis Daguerre, became famous. But that grainy view from Niépce's window is the ancestor of every photo we take today, every portrait, every memory, every image on our phones. He proved we could capture time itself. Today, Niépce's blurry view from the window is preserved in a museum, proof that the father of photography captured history even if history almost forgot him. Half a century later, in America, another man tried to capture not pictures, but voices. By the late 1800s, the telegraph carried clicks and codes across wires, but not voices. People dreamed of hearing each other across distance, but most thought it impossible. Alexander Graham Bell, a teacher for the deaf, refused to give up. On March 10, 1876, in Boston, he called to his assistant, "Mr. Watson, come here, I want to see you." For the first time, a human voice traveled through a wire. But Bell's victory was clouded by rivalry. On that very same day, Elisha Gray filed a claim for his own telephone design. The legal battle lasted years, and suspicion haunted Bell. Yet his patent stood, and the world changed forever. The telephone shrank our planet, turning faraway voices into close conversations. Just 3 years later, also in America, another inventor waged his own battle, this time against the darkness. For centuries, when the sun set, darkness ruled. People lit candles or oil lamps, fragile, flickering, and dangerous. Electric light was the dream, but no one could make a bulb last. Thomas Edison turned failure into a process. He tested thousands of filaments, cotton, bamboo, even horsehair. His lab was a graveyard of burnt experiments. But in 1879, a carbon filament glowed steadily for more than 40 hours. The first practical light bulb was born. Edison later said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." His invention lit up homes and cities, pushing back the night. But perhaps his greatest gift was showing the world that failure is not the end, it is the path. He didn't just light up a room, he lit up the modern world. And his persistence is still studied today as much as his invention. Only a generation later, two brothers with a wooden machine set out to do something no one believed possible: to fly. For centuries, humans dreamed of flying. Leonardo da Vinci sketched flying machines, but they remained dreams. In the early 1900s, two bicycle makers, Orville and Wilbur Wright, decided to try anyway. On December 17, 1903, on a windy beach in Kitty Hawk, North Carolina, their wooden flyer lifted into the air. Just 12 seconds, 120 feet. But it was the first powered flight in human history. At first, newspapers mocked them. Scientists dismissed them. But their persistence paid off. Within a decade, planes filled the skies. Within a generation, they circled the globe. Their 12-second flight showed that even the smallest step can lift humanity into a new era. And just 60 years later, those wings carried us even higher, beyond the Earth itself. On July 20, 1969, the world watched in awe as a man stepped onto the moon. Neil Armstrong's words echoed through radios and televisions: "That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind." But this leap was paid for in blood. In 1967, the Apollo 1 crew died in a fire during a test. Many thought the dream of the moon was over. Yet the astronauts pressed on. Armstrong, Aldrin, and Collins carried Apollo 11 to the Sea of Tranquility. It was not just an American triumph, it was a human one. For the first time, we walked on another world. Armstrong received medals and honors, but perhaps the greatest honor is that his footprints still remain on the lunar soil, untouched, a silent reminder of how far we've come. From Gutenberg's press to Armstrong's footprints on the moon, every first mattered because it solved a problem, answered a need, or fulfilled a dream. Each carried struggle, doubt, and sacrifice, but also courage, imagination, and hope. And here's the truth: history isn't finished. The next first could come from anywhere, from a lab, from a garage, or even from you. So tell me in the comments, which first inspired you most? And if you enjoyed this journey, hit that like button and subscribe, because next time, we'll explore more stories that will bend your mind. It's me, Benz, signing out.